My name is Stacey Hahn. Yes. I'm with Awards Buzz tonight. We're Bitsy Telek's Superman and Lois final season?
Yeah.
Question mark or period?
No, period. We finished filming at the end of April. I think when it was announced, it was pretty final. I saw some people trying to petition, and then others were like, I mean, you got to read the newspaper articles and everything.
You guys had a good run.
We did. We had 4 seasons, and I'm very grateful that we had this 4th season to kind of wrap things up for the fans.
Well, and it was such a fun take on it, and such original characters that they brought into the canon, and such a new way to kind of view it.
Yeah.
Tell us one of the things that you loved most about this iteration of Superman and Lois, and specifically kind of the Lois of it all.
It's the first time that we had seen Lois and Clark be parents in live action, so that's really something that just obviously sets us apart. And also that there wasn't as much of a focus on their origin story of meeting at the Daily Planet and whatnot. We did do that in flashbacks, and we know the fans love flashbacks, so you're going to see that a lot in the first 3 episodes especially, but kind of throughout. But it was more of picking up their story a lot further down the road.
Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of got it a little bit like with Supergirl and some of the crossover episodes. We got some of the best, so we were able to jump in kind of having that knowledge and knowing, which allowed us to kind of then open up to the families and to kind of the other characters.
Yeah.
Tell us if there's any kind of lasting message that you want this specific iteration to kind of leave. What would you like that to be?
It's a really good question. It almost makes me emotional. What I would want to leave behind for me personally. Lex.
Oh, you just go ahead. You just go on.
I was answering a question that literally almost made me tear up, and then Lex Luthor shows up and just pisses all over it.
Let's ruin it.
Soft.
Lex, what do you want to leave there?
What I was gonna say for me personally.
I'll leave you guys alone for this.
Going into this, a lot of people often ask me, was I intimidated or did I feel a lot of pressure? And it wasn't any of that at all. I had faith that David Rappaport, who's an incredible casting director, and everyone else who had a hand in my casting trusted in my vision. But it was more that I respected what made Lois Lane so iconic and so beloved by the fans so much. And I, interacted a lot with the fans. I have so much love and respect for genre fans. Mind you, I'm coming off a show like Grimm, and so I love genre fans. They're very loyal, they're very smart. But it was really just like I get, and I hope that my performance really communicated what made Lois herself so iconic for over 85 years, which is the grit, the determination, the pursuit of justice and truth no matter what, and the work ethic, and really just the respect for these characters that the entire cast and crew and the writers and producers had for these stories and for these characters.
Well, I know you are one of the favorite Loises. People will go down in history as that, and it is a wonderful legacy to uphold. So
thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Great to see you. Yeah. When does the new season come out, and where can we watch?
Oh, we started on Monday.
Okay.
It was a 2-hour premiere this past Monday, 1 and 2, and then episode 3, which my husband David Gentili directed, airs this Monday, October 14th. And I will say that one in particular is going to be an episode that people are going to be talking about. It's very emotional, and something really unexpected happens.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. We are talking about the final season.
The final one.
Sad.
I know. Hey, look, it's bittersweet because we ended it on its feet.
Right?
That rhymed unintentionally. I think I have a career in the rap game now.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, the end of the street, the rent. Yeah. But we landed it on its feet. No pun intended. We had a lot of time to write the ending of this show, so I think we had a pretty good run about it. Yeah.
If there is anything that you want the viewers to take away from this iteration of Superman and Lois, what would you want it to be?
Take away as in, okay.
Yeah, like what's the thing that
I think the power of loving your family, even unconditionally. We see in episode 2, this is a bit of a spoiler, but it's aired, that Jordan tries to save his father by going after his ripped out heart that he needs for the transplant and fails. Now, the family could have ostracized Jordan for that, and you'll see that there's some anger between the two brothers, but really the power of love and forgiveness came in. In the end, he was just trying to do what's right in this really hard moment. And I hope that we can extrapolate that to our own families in this really divided time in the country. Right? We find the people in our own family units having opposing views to us that we at times can find abhorrent. But I hope that we can talk to one another again. I'm working at the UN right now in my spare time to do something to that effect. I really want families and people talking to one another again and speaking. And I think that's the only way that we can heal and move forward, just like the Kents.
Yeah. Well, tell us, what's one thing that, I'm with the words buzz, what is the buzz for this upcoming season? What's the one thing where, like, if you're going to watch anything, watch this?
Okay. The ending.
Ooh.
The ending.
Okay.
We do something that no Superman iteration has ever done in 85 years of Superman.
Okay.
So stay tuned for what that is. You can take guesses as to what it is.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely fantastically directed. It is absolutely fantastically written and even acted out by my castmates. So it's really, really something to look forward to, especially if you're a Superman fan.
So tell me about each of you, your history with the Gremlins. What do you know about them? And how'd you get involved with the show?
You want to go first?
Sure. Do you want me to hold this?
It's up to you.
I'll hold it, sure, for this one. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right. So for me, I was terrified of Gremlins as a kid. I loved Gizmo, but I was so scared of the evil Mogwai or the Gremlins because they were ugly and gross, and I was afraid they were going to crawl out of my air vents. That's the story you've heard me tell a million times.
You get it.
Yeah. So, and Gabby?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up on Gremlins because it came out way before my time, but I started watching the films right around my audition process. It just kind of happened to end up that way. It was a family movie night, and I was like, oh, this is kind of spooky, kind of scary, and then, the audition came around for Gremlins The Wild Batch, so it kind of all worked out.
Very good timing.
Yeah, really good timing.
Yeah.
So tell me the favorite thing about each of your characters.
Ooh.
Or tell me who you play. Say the character that you play, and then what your favorite thing about them.
Yeah, so I play Elle, and in the first season, she was kind of just the friend of Sam and Gizmo. We didn't really know where she came from. So in season 2, we really get to explore her vulnerability, and we get to kind of go deeper into her backstory and find out who this character is. So one of my favorite parts of Elle is exploring her vulnerability and getting to kind of peel back the layer of, why is she so angry? Why is she kind of having a difficult time adjusting to the family and adjusting to, not having to fight for her place in the world? Why is that? So that's my favorite part of Elle.
How about you, Adrian?
Weren't you supposed to say your favorite part about Gizmo?
You're supposed to say your favorite part about Gizmo.
No, I thought we were supposed to say about each other's characters. All right, I'm wrong. Well, I will say I love your character because you're so tough and feisty and no nonsense and so much fun. And I love your performance, obviously.
That's so sweet.
I never get to tell you that in person, so I will. But yes, I love Elle. I'd also like to say as Gizmo. But I love Gizmo just because Gizmo's someone I grew up with. To get to continue his character and be part of the legacy is really surreal. So he's so cute and cuddly and yet has a feisty side like Elle. Is Elle cute and cuddly? She's got a lot of layers.
Yeah. Like an onion.
Like an onion. Oh, goodness. Yeah, exactly.
So if you had to have your own gremlin, if you were given a gremlin, they were like, take care of this. Because I'm like the mind where I don't necessarily want a gremlin to be tamed necessarily, but I also
want a wild
don't,
gremlin? Like chimp crazy? Like that
right,
document?
exactly, yeah.
No gremlin, get
I
off!
want a gremlin in the wild, just not near me. I just don't want it near me. I don't want to go to a house and see someone's gremlin. But I also don't know about like domesticating a gremlin,
Yeah.
So but where do you fall on that? Do you want the purse gremlin that you can take on flights with you? Like, what's your ideal ideal gremlin
No.
situation.
You don't want a purse gremlin?
No, I don't. I mean, what happens if they start serving drinks and there's turbulence and, you know, on an airplane? I don't know why I thought about an airplane. Did you say
I said it, yeah.
Okay, that's why. No, they should be left in the Valley of Jade to kind of do their own thing because, they're chaotic. I mean, I'd like to cuddle one for a second, but that's about it.
I feel like owning a Mogwai is very similar to owning a tiger.
Yeah.
I don't think that should happen, but should it happen, I would want my Mogwai to be most like Gizmo. You know, he follows the rules. You don't really have to worry about him too much. He's
Yeah.
kind of self-sufficient.
Yeah.
He's chill.
Yeah.
He's trying to be good, so there's that.
I love it. Well, I'm with awards buzz, so I want to know what the buzz about season 2 is going to be. If we're going to watch for one thing, what's it going to be?
Ooh, one thing for season 2. I would say be on the lookout for the growth of the characters. Each character has a very distinct character arc this season, so keep on the lookout for that.
I would say classic storytelling. I feel like it's not a thing that you see as much as we did back in, especially with Amblin in the 80s. Like there were so many things that they did that was just like, this is a classic. And I feel like with this, everything's so tight. The characters, the story, it's heartwarming. And I feel like we're missing that. And so, throw them all the awards because of that.
Listen, let's go. Thank you so much, you guys. You're the host of the Harry Potter Baking Show.
Yep.
Tell me everything about this show and how did you become involved?
Yeah, so Harry Potter Wizards of Baking is what it's called, and it was something that just came along the top of the year really, and Oliver and I have always wanted to do hosting, and we love our families love baking shows anyway. So it was actually the first time I've having a meeting over Zoom with the producers where my wife said, could I sit in just behind the camera and just listen, because she was just as excited as I was. And so there's 9 teams of a couple in each team, and neither have worked together before.
Oh wow.
So there's that element. But they are super qualified bakers. They're like the best in America. So that was cool. And it's basically seeing every episode is inspired by something on Harry Potter, and they have to come up with a bake. And when I'm talking bakes, I'm talking like at least 4 foot high.
Oh wow.
Things which could take in real world should take 2 weeks, but they're doing it in several hours. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's been just being able to be up close and see these real masters at their craft. That was something really awesome.
Now, I know you guys are the host, but did you guys get to do any tasting?
Oh, we did a lot of tasting, yeah. And the good thing is that being the host, we're not part of the judging side of things. So we are Switzerland, we are neutral. But we can still just stand around and be like, you finished with this tray. It actually got to a point where towards the later tasks, the teams were actually leaving a lot left, so we could at least pig out on a bit of it. But they were just absolutely superb. And you just see the level of craftsmanship where they're literally making it there from nothing. And you just want to think, I could try and do that at home. Whether I get anywhere near it, I don't know. But it definitely sows the seeds. So no doubt there'll be guys watching the show who will want to try and replicate these.
Tell me about the idea of, there's something very special about the Harry Potter fan community, and this book has really, these series of books have changed, and the movies have changed a lot of people's lives, and they have come together and formed these communities in which they've continued to change each other's lives.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we love about like the Great British Bake Off is the bakes, of course, but also the stories behind them. Were there any stories throughout the seasons that just really like gripped you and captivated
Yeah,
you?
100%. So we were very, very aware that as host, your job isn't to be the star of the show. Your job is to help and speak to the guys baking, and and the producers were great as well. Make sure that these guys tell their stories. What got them into baking. Some people got into baking very late in life, and now they've gone to be very successful in what they're doing. Some guys went to college and really got in that way, but it really just showed that you can be from anywhere and really excel in this craft. And we really dive into this. And in fact, in the first episode, there's a great bit with a lady explaining something that she does in her community, and how much that means to everybody. And that there's been a few watery eyes at that point.
It was,
really cool, yeah.
And especially as James said, we know early on that our job is to be the link between the viewer and the contestants. That's our job, to try and get to them. And yeah, we just built up such a great rapport with these guys, and they'd be telling us not just about the baking side of things, but also watching a Harry Potter film with their kids, or their pet, or reading books with their parents, or some link like that. And then you just remember what a global thing it is. And it's so great that this is just another part of the Avenue woven into the whole Harry Potter tapestry.
Have you found that your own baking has improved after being the host of the show?
So I've been using the excuse now that the kitchen is much messier when I'm baking, because that's how I saw the bakers do it. The patisserie chefs are so neat, but the bakers are quite, there's flour everywhere, but my wife still doesn't buy that at all, Ben.
Right,
and I've got to clean up, whereas these guys had like teams to clean up after them, didn't they? I wouldn't say my baking has improved, but my tasting has improved.
There we go. You're pro taster right now.
Well, the judges, Carla Hall and Joseph Youssef, they're amazing at explaining to the because obviously it's a baking show, so it needs to taste good.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obviously the best at explaining to the viewer what it tastes like, what works with what. And off camera, I was kind of getting them to explain how can I enjoy food more.
I love it.
Even to the point of eating a chocolate bar now, I
Pick out the different,
go through the different
what
ingredients.
region the nubs
Exactly,
are from.
yeah.
We love it. We love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time to talk with me about it. Tell me, where can I watch the show?
Cool. So the show is coming out on the 14th of November on Food Network, and then a bit later on Max On Demand.
Oh, I cannot wait. It sounds so much fun.
Hi, I'm Martha Millen and I play Fiona De La Rosa.
Hi, I'm Eddie Serrano. I'm one of the executive producers on the Cleveland Lady.
So this show, for me, started as a show about a cleaning lady. That's all I knew. And then it became a lot more than that. And then there were several seasons. Or several more episodes, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. Did you have any idea that it was going to catch hold like this? Was that always the plan? Were you like, oh, I know what I got? Or were you like, oh, okay, like let's keep going?
Should I answer that?
Yeah, go for it.
No, yeah. So the thing that's fascinating about the cleaning lady is she's not just a cleaning lady. She used to be a doctor. She came here and documented. So there's what we tend to do with the show is subvert expectations. It's like what you normally see as someone who's invisible and doesn't have power. They do. They harness these abilities that expand the world into places that you never thought they could expand to. And I think that's all of our characters. They you open them up and they take you many places because they're not just one thing. Again, taking a trope and subverting expectations, and that's why the show I think has evolved the way it has and it's grown the way it has. Yeah.
And
And I think in terms of the elements of family and sacrifice and the immigrant experience, these are the things that they're still exploring, but in a way that it just pushes boundaries and obviously all the moral grays that we all go through, which everybody loves.
We love it.
Right?
Tell me, what do we have to look forward to for your character this upcoming season?
Well, I'm excited because it's like a new beginning this season. I feel like in many ways it's a fresh start. It's got its own sort of the story that starts. So for me, I'm just glad I joined in the third, so I'm glad to explore Hokia even deeper. A lot of stories still to tell, and now my character's in charge of the cartel. It's like, how does he manage that, and how does he put himself on top, because he's got a lot of things going against him at the beginning.
Well, I am with Awards Buzz, and so we want to know, what is the buzz for the next season? What is that one scene? And we don't want to do spoilers, so if you want to do you can be vague about it. If you want to give us a one answer and a little wink, let us. So what is the one scene that you're like, if you're gonna watch it, you gotta watch for this?
I have to be careful. I'm gonna let you answer.
One word.
You just read.
It can be a phrase, one word, but just something. We don't want to get you in trouble, but hook us. Give us that little hook.
What kind of person?
Dirty.
Consequences.
Ooh.
Explosive.
Okay. Oh.
That's very generic, but
Listen,
you know the show.
but that's telling. Okay.
You know the show. You know that it's explosive.
Listen, no one said Lysol. No one said spin mop. So I'm already ready. I'm excited.
One thing I do want to say is that if you haven't watched the first 3 seasons, start watching now.
All right.
Because we are sort of rebooting the show. We have a new showrunner that's bringing a fresh perspective. And so come on board, watch now, and if you like what you're seeing, then I would encourage people to watch season 1, 2, 3 as additive material, but you don't have to. So, and if you are a fan of the show, it's going to be exciting. It's going to give you exactly what you wanted of the show to evolve into. So it's a little bit for everyone, new viewers and fans.
We are here with the John Ortiz,
Hello, hello.
Bad Monkey. Tell us how you got involved with this role.
In the Bad Monkey world?
Yes.
I got involved with the Bad Monkey world because I read an email late on Friday night from the amazing, wonderful Mr. Everywhere, Bill Lawrence, asking me if I would consider reading a new script of his. And I was like, let me think about that for 1 second. And the second was quickly over, and I read it and loved it and was fortunate enough to be cast in it.
You always bring such a casual coolness to every role that you play. It's very easy. It's very laid back. I love just listening to between you and Vince Vaughn. It's so fun, the banter between you two. Is everything scripted? Do you have a chance to kind of get to improvise? Tell me about building out that relationship.
Yeah, well, Vince is amazing. Like, there's something that if you're lucky enough to get, you don't have to work at it, and that's chemistry. And I was lucky enough to have that the instant we started acting together, Vince and I. And the scenes and the scripts are so well written. It's like really good writing. And so every time we would do a scene, we would all make sure that we quote unquote got it. And then after we got it, they would appease Vince mostly and me to just give us a free one.
Yeah.
And that free one was all about riffing. But the riffing was based on the actual writing. So we hit all the beats and stuff, but it also allowed us to go with whatever inspiration we were feeling at the moment. And Vince is a master at improv. And I think I can hold my own too.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was like being in the ring with Ali.
Right. Well, I love that because even if they don't end up using it, you're still building out those characters. You're still building up that relationship, and it really shows. Because you would say, "Oh yeah, they've known each other for years," and you could have just met. Yeah,
that's so true. Like we approached the improv with a certain amount of seriousness. It wasn't like just joking and saying things just to say them. They were, like I said, they were based on the material and on the circumstances that were going on in the scene, and it was true inspiration, right? So what came out was a lot of times these like little gems that whether they were used or not, it informed us of each other and of ourselves, and even the writers who would see the dailies might get an idea based on something that they didn't quite think about, you know, that we was it like some kind of secret that we had in us, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of fun.
There was a scene, and it was so small, but it was something about you need to repark the car. And it's just I'm not going to repark the car. They're like, I'm going to go repark the car. He's like, you couldn't repark the car. And I said, this is so relatable. I know this exactly. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think I might have had a conversation or two like that with my wife.
Exactly. So, of course, I'm with Awards Buzz, and we want to know what the buzz is for this season. What is the one thing where we're like, if we're going to watch it, we're going to watch it for this?
You mean any show?
No, for the show, for Bad Monkey. What's the hook? We're like, oh no, you gotta watch for this.
Oh, you gotta watch this show for the performances. There are so many characters, and it's based on Carl Hiaasen's books. And Carl Hiaasen, he was a former reporter for the Miami Herald. So a lot of what you see in Bad Monkey is real life stuff that he encountered, and it's out there. So every actor that plays a character, and there are so many of them, and they're just as crazy as the next, they ground it in such a real way, and they own it, and they're so passionate about it that it's something that the buzz should be looking at, you know. And then, of course, I think the writing. The writing, taking Carl Hiaasen's books, which I mean, he's been writing for a very long time, and I don't think it's a secret as to why there hasn't been an adaptation before. I think it's about how difficult it is, how much of a challenge it is to take the wide scope, the wide breadth of Carl Hiaasen's work and put it into a TV show. And so the writing, what Bill has done, and the entire staff is truly remarkable.
Well, I know Ashley Nicole Black, and there are a few other writers, but taking it, modernizing it, and then also making it funny.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
Making it funny and making it compact enough to have people hooked episode to episode, and that's the thing that I'm hearing a lot from viewers is how hooked they're on the show. It's like, yeah. So there's something to be said about that, but also the characters of the Caribbean characters in the Bahamas, like the Dragon Queen, for instance.
Yes.
That part in the novel is not so sympathetic,
right?
And because in real life, I believe that character, who was a real person, was more of a trickster, and what the writers did and what Jodie did, who's amazing in the show, is not only make it real and grounded, but give it so many layers, so many complex, delicious layers. So the writing and the performances.
Well, I can't wait for more people to watch it. It's currently on Apple TV Plus.
Yes.
And we are excited.
Thanks so much.
My name is Stacey Vaughn. We are with the cast of The Bookie. Tell us, first of all, your character, and then what we have to look forward to in this upcoming season.
Well, I'm playing Sandra. I play Danny's wife. And Omar plays his
partner, his work wife, basically. Yes.
And Jorge plays.
I'm Hector, who was like the Lyft driver that ends up becoming a part of the team.
I love it. And it's
yes, I play Raphael. Like I said, I played Danny's partner in crime, basically, because we are criminals who drive through the streets of LA collecting money from degenerates.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Tell me, it's so funny because, of course, we usually have the Law and Order and the, every single LAPD and this, that, and the third, and now it's like, let's do one about criminals.
Right, yes.
Right. Is that what kind of made you want to get involved with the show like this? Just something different, subverting expectations?
I've done drama for so long, Queen Sugar for 7 years, Ray Donovan, and all of these, movies. I was always crying. I just wanted to laugh again. I started out doing Todd Phillips movies.
Yeah.
I started out doing, Drumline and all of these funny movies. And I was like, I want to laugh again. I came out of sketch comedy. I came out of improv theater. So I was like, I want to get back into that. I don't want to have to be crying and holding somebody dying every week, Even though somebody does die every week on our show. So but it's funny death. Yes.
How about you, Jorge?
Hilarious. Listen, it's like in a way I've always played guys who are nice, really nice guys. You gotta get to play someone, who's got a little dirt. Is a lot of fun, and it was just a great opportunity. Got to shoot in LA, work for Chuck Lorre. It's like yes, everything.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I always say that it's like The Sopranos and Curb Your Enthusiasm had a baby, and I just remember reading it when I got the audition and thinking, oh, I love it so much. Please let me get it. So I'm so happy that I did. It's really fun. It's dark and it's funny. Yeah.
Well, I'm with Awards Buzz, and so we want to know what the buzz is for the upcoming season. Tell us, what is the one scene where you're like, you gotta watch this. If you're gonna watch for anything, you gotta watch this.
Which one?
I mean, there's so many scenes. One thing about it is that because it's almost like 3 different worlds. We have the world of The Office. We have the world of Danny and Sandra's house. We have the world of Ray, his grandmother's house. And we also have the world of with Jorge and Vanessa in their business dealings. With the mushrooms, the magic mushrooms. So we have so many different layers in it. I'll tell you one thing I really did like was I'll just say ZD Fight.
All right.
ZD Fight.
All
It might not be award winning, but my God, it's beautiful.
All right.
And the aftermath of that, you'll see. The ZD Fight.
That's right.
Yes.
Do we have other words that we want to throw out there?
I know, right?
We like ZD Fight. We like ZD Fight.
ZD Fight.
How you are? You got a
El
word?
Condor.
El Condor.
El Condor is something to look out for. And it's just like all the relationships over the course of that season kind of get this strain, and you kind of got to see, like, are they gonna pull it out? Are they gonna make things work for almost everybody? And that's kind of stuff that, you know, it's the relationship thing that makes you care about the people that are going through all this stuff.
Well, I cannot wait for everyone to see it. It sounds like a blast. Thank you so much for taking a little time to talk with me today.
Thank you.
My name is Stacey Yvonne. I'm with Awards Buzz.
Hello.
You're the EP for Sex Lives of
Yes,
College
yeah.
Girls, which I went to the season 2 premiere, and that was years ago.
It was,
so
yeah,
now,
almost 2 full years.
Look
yeah.
at this. And so
Yeah.
now we're coming full circle.
Here
We're
we
going
are.
into that 3rd season. Tell me how it feels.
It feels incredible. It really feels so good. We had so much time to work on season 3, and I think it shows. I think this will be a season that proves if you have more time to make it, it's going to be better.
Well, I noticed we got some new additions.
Yes.
And I really like that idea because whenever you're dealing with kind of a college show, you're a little bit bound by 4 years, you know?
Yes, yeah.
And so this way you kind of extend that. Was that kind of the thought process?
That was one of my thoughts when we first started the show. We were coming up with the creative for season 1, and a lot of people naturally assumed this would be a 4-year show. But I was sitting there saying, this seems fun, and I haven't seen this show on TV before. Why do I want to limit myself? Let's write the first season to end at Thanksgiving.
There we
and
go.
so we did. And so the first 2 years only take us through that first year of college. So we kick it off in season 3 at the start of sophomore year, which is a super fun time because I feel like if we're thinking about college, you go to college, you're shell-shocked, that's funny, you don't know what you're doing. You think you know what you're doing, but like 2 months ago, your mom was picking you up at the AMC because you couldn't even drive home. And then you come back after your first year, you think about it, and you come back to college in your second year, and you're like, I got it all figured out.
Right.
I'm an adult, I know how to do everything, but you don't know shit.
Right, exactly.
And so life reminds you that, and then there's a lot of fun that comes with these girls who have to lean on each other in a slightly different headspace than they were as undercooked 18-year-olds who just showed up on campus together.
Now, one thing that I love about the show is that even though we are losing our gem, we are losing
Yes,
Renee Rapp, she is one of many gems. Each story has so much depth to
Yeah,
it, and
we're jewelers.
so much going on, and
We're
you have someone that you can root for, no matter kind of who it is, or someone that you love to hate,
Yes.
someone you hate to love. Tell us about making sure that each story kind of held its own weight.
Absolutely. That's one of the most fun parts of the job, and it's what we do first in the writer's room is we come up with a full season of content for each of our girls independently. We have a room that is truly covered with note cards. We look insane if you walk into it. And this year, we didn't have to do it for 4 characters. We did it for like 8,
Wow,
which
yeah.
is so fun. But I think that's what feels so true to college to this next season because people come into your life in college, they come out of your life. Like one of my best friends in the world, the girl who officiated my wedding to my husband, I met her my junior year in college. She was there. We just didn't cross paths. Like college is a big place. And so we meet a lot of new people in season 3 who are going to stick around for a while. We'll meet some people who come into our lives and exit. And that's what college is. And that's what we're trying to do is just put a funny, accurate representation of it on TV.
Well, since I am with Awards Buzz, we want to know what is the buzz about season 3? What is one thing that you're like, if you're going to watch, you got to watch for this?
I mean, you got to watch for some of the big parties that are coming your way on this show. I've never seen a frat house basement that's full of balls and made into a ball pit and a streaker running through them. And maybe that ends up on this season, and maybe it doesn't.
But on our show, like you said, like what we're watching for is any of those gems in our cast. Our casts are incredible. You got people to root for, and there's only going to be more of them coming your way every week, starting in November.
Let's do it. I love it. We are with two of the cast, Renika.
Yes.
And Ilya. Yes. From the Sex Lives of College Girls, coming soon on Max in November. Honey.
Yes.
I was telling Justin, I was like, I was at the season 2 premiere. I hope to be at the season 3 premiere. But I was saying it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're coming full circle. Tell me, how does it feel to be back?
It feels great. Look at the braids. You know what I mean? Like, look at the dress.
It feels so good.
It feels amazing.
The girls are growing up in real life and on screen.
We're learning things. I don't know what, but we're learning.
Listen, that's what matters. I was telling Justin, one thing I do love about the show is that even though we are losing one of our gems, we're losing Renee Rapp, it is one of our gems. Each character is her own gem, and each storyline is so relatable. You have your characters you love, you have your characters you can't stand.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like to be on a show that gives so much depth to each character.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that I love about the show is that it really is an ensemble show, and it is so well cast and everyone brings in so much so that when we are on set, it's just a bunch of playing. You know, we're like little kids at the playground.
And we get to see all types of women. That's what's so beautiful. And everybody's journey, we were talking about it earlier, the Sex Lives of College Girls is not just about actual sex. It's about the awkwardness, when you're learning how to date and be on your own and have freedom. And it's really exciting to see all these different types of girls kind of maneuver who they want to grow into be.
That's beautiful, bitch.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Tell me, so I'm with Awards Buzz.
Okay.
Tell me, what is the buzz for the next season? If we're gonna watch, what are we gonna watch? We gotta watch for this scene.
I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, or you can be vague about it.
Okay,
you can say one thing in one place.
Ooh. Okay. I'm trying to think of the word.
Splendiferous.
Milk.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Milk?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, the mic is sensitive. No, for real. Milk and mess for me. How do we maneuver through the milk and how do we maneuver through the mess?
That's a whole word. Hallelujah.
It is. Hallelujah.
I absolutely cannot wait, y'all. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
And we are with Justin, the executive producer for Invincible Fight Girl. When I saw this, I was just complaining to someone. I said, we don't have like an animated feature that has a female that can be irreverent.
Yes.
That, you know, you kind of see the guy who's always, you know, being feisty and irreverent, but the girl is always kind of behind him and mad and overly serious. And I was like, I want a girl who's like irreverent and having fun and kicking butt and taking names. Enter an Invincible Fight Girl. So tell us about just kind of how this came to be and how you became involved with the project.
Sure. So I actually was the one who created it.
Oh, there you go.
It started in 2016. And it was just kind of like a kernel of an idea, trying to figure out how to tell a story about someone trying to do something really hard. Because I feel like that's sort of been my journey in animation, is this thing I'm passionate about, but just, you know, it's pretty hard to get into, and there's a lot of setbacks and a lot of adversity you face. And so I kind of wanted to find a way to talk about that for you know, my generation.
Tell me, so of course being a producer, and like you said, there are always these hurdles, but a big part of it is saying, hey, we need the moon, can you get me the moon? And you being like, I guess.
Yes.
So tell me about a time that someone asked you for the moon in regards to this project, and how you overcame what you did to get it.
Yeah, I think the studio was in, you know, a pretty tumultuous place by the time we were going through production. And so a lot of just the overall story of the show is just doing what we can with maybe not so much. So, you know, other shows had a pretty lengthy production time. We were pretty compressed, and I feel like even with that, we sort of put on ourselves to try to deliver the moon, because it was like, well, we got an opportunity, so let's do as best as we can. Let's swing for the fences.
I love that. So what do we have to look forward to this upcoming season?
You're going to see a lot of fighting, a lot of storytelling in the fighting, a lot of celebrating wrestling, and also celebrating wrestling with anime and a lot of the things I grew up with, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, all those sorts of things, all in a story that's going to be pretty heartwarming, I think.
And tell us, where can we watch this?
Yes, you can watch it November 2nd on Adult Swim, Toonami, and then the next day it's going to be on Max.
Well, that's so exciting. I am excited to see my girl again. Thank you so much for taking a little time to talk with us, and congratulations on the new season.
Appreciate
There's
it.
many, many more.
Thank you so much.
We're with Robbie and Ariel from the cast of High Surf, and that is HI, capital HI, because we are in OR. Tell us about your characters. Are you guys up there surfing and saving lives, or?
You know what? In all honesty, behind the scene, I think there was probably there was quite a few rescues that we did outside of the show.
As filming was happening.
I actually did a rescue. I think it's in the books as a rescue. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes, please.
Really quickly, we were filming on the beach, and there was this young surfer that started paddling out. And Uncle Brian, who was he was one of the watermen that taught us everything. He said, "You've got to watch people and how." So I watched the surfer paddle out. Goes, this guy. One, he's got booties on. No one in the North Shore has booties on. And two, I could see his style. And because it was quite big out there, he started paddling. And I thought to myself, that guy doesn't belong there. This old guy goes past him. He comes up to me, goes, that guy should not be out there. He comes off. He starts washing onto the reef. And I rang up to one of our crew and said, give me the whistle. I ran towards him, blew the whistle, and I said, boy, get out! But because I was in my captain uniform, he saw it, goes, okay, I'm out. So he started paddling in. And then just 5 minutes after that, a real rescue happened, which our actual lifeguard swam out and put someone in.
I'll claim that one too.
Boom.
Yeah. But that's really awesome. I love that stuff like this kind of gives you that confidence to be like, you know what, I can't do this. You know, I can't kind of be that person. Do you think that a show like this kind of inspires the inner hero and the people who watch?
I hope so. I mean, I definitely felt like because we went through lifeguard training and CPR training and ATV training and jet ski training and scuba diving training, the more we were there, and like Robbie said, being a part of real rescues as we were filming rescues, the more I realized, like, once you have this skill set, it's kind of your obligation to help where help is needed, whether it's convenient or not, and also to teach other people around you what you've learned. Like, one thing I saw is everyone is constantly paying it forward and passing it on, and so then it's also like, okay, well, now it's also my obligation to teach what I know to someone else, because you never know when they're going to need it. And so I think that feels like the inner hero is, it's constantly thinking of community and showing up wherever you need to be, whenever you need to be.
I absolutely love that. Do you echo that sentiment?
No, there's no way I'm going to top what she
Heck
just
no.
said. I'm going to leave it at that.
Right?
There's no sequel. There's no sequel. You know, sometimes people do sequels and it's terrible. Don't do it.
He's like, wisely said. Wisely said. I love it. Tell me what we have to look forward to for your characters in the season.
Future conversation needs
What don't you?
I know we have a few episodes out already, but we're getting towards that mid-season twist. Something's coming up.
I think for my character, you'll get to see more of Sunny's family. You get to see them, and they slowly get to introduce during the season. And also my character pushing Lieutenant towards something I don't want to say right now.
Right, with Schmapton?
Yeah, Schmapton, because he can see potential in here.
Okay.
That's where my character's going. Yours?
My character is, of course, dealing with the Will M saga, will they, won't they, and that just gets hotter and heavier as the season goes on. And then also in terms of her work, you know, Captain is really putting the pressure on her, and she's excited, and then a couple of things happen, and she realizes, like, this dream I've had my whole life, is it what I really want? And if it's not, I've been so focused on it my whole life, then what do I want? So there's a lot of inner conflict. And then we have a few incredible recurring roles coming up.
that'll really slap you sideways, because these people show up and you get a sense of who our characters are before we met them, and we get to see backstory and what makes Em vulnerable when she doesn't like to be. And I'll just say this: I get slapped in the face. Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, no, that's the buzz. We love it. Now, I love that we have the character growth and development, but I couldn't help but notice you said hot and heavy, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that this is one of the hottest casts on TV. And
he's out.
I know, you're coming because you're part of this too. You get back in here because I want to know: do you guys ever get sick of each other? I mean, like
we hate each other,
looking at each other.
Cannot stand. The best acting role of my life.
I was like, you can't look good and be nice. Like, it's got to be one. It's got to be illegal.
We are very, very close.
We are. We are. Do you know there was days where I was maybe going through something on set, and Robbie would call me after just to check in and see how I was doing? That is a real life captain.
We love it.
A good person.
We love it,
Janet does the same. LT does exactly the same.
Yeah, it's kind of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine on the water, and I'm here for it.
You know what? It is amazing. I always think to myself how lucky I am to have a cast that's so close. Imagine if it was like if we didn't get on.
Yeah.
It'd be an absolute nightmare.
Right.
Especially with how close we work together and how fast. We're not slowing down for camera setups or hair and makeup, because the camera is right with us the whole time, and we're outside, so there's no fancy lighting. So we're just constantly working. Like, there's really no downtime. So if we didn't get along, it would just be.
It would suck.
I can't imagine.
Well, it is palpable through the screen. Thank you so guys for taking. Thank you so much. So tell us about your character. Tell us who you play and just a little overview about them.
So I play Will. He's a Aussie who was a lifeguard back home, and he moved over to the North Shore to sort of test himself, because that's really where the best of the best are when it comes to watermen and lifeguards and stuff like that. And he fell in love with the job, fell in love with the people, fell in love with the girl, and you see him part of that journey right now. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Kakoa?
So I play Loco, and he's a local boy, born and raised, and he's proud to represent ocean safety and represent just all local people around the North Shore and Oahu and island-wide.
Tell us about the importance of a production like this to Hawaii, because we know that they went through those horrific fires just a few years ago. We're going through. Is this in the same area, or was that okay? So different
island.
But we're still supporting just kind of overall, I guess, representation and tourism and that kind of stuff. Sorry, I almost dropped this.
No, we're good.
We're gonna do some stuff. There we go. I was like, I'm slipping.
No, you good?
Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
So, I love shows that are set in Hawaii because we do get locals and we do get people who are kind of local to the area when we talk about Australians and people that Americans don't really think about. But we love to see this representation. Tell me how exciting it is, I guess, to kind of be a part of a production that is this diverse as telling these types of stories.
Oh yeah, I think it's huge for me, at least, being born and raised on Oahu and being a lifeguard and being able to represent my culture and all my people. I think it's a huge moment for me. I'm very blessed and grateful because at the end of the day, I have a small community, and it's very rare that we are able to get to a certain level as far as this high and as this big. And I was lucky enough to be able to represent and hopefully put a good name for us.
Now, were you both lifeguards prior to this?
No. When we had to do training, he just sat that one out and went surfing and had a good old laugh at all of us. But yeah, we all got put through the ringer because it was all new to the rest of us. But we had great trainers, and after 7 months of filming, you're learning on the job day to day, and so we definitely got our hours up too and felt a lot more confident and comfortable and efficient in the water. So yeah, it turned out all right, but didn't start off too fluid.
Well, being a hometown boy, do you get the people who are like, okay, we see you, we see you on the TV, let's say the live.
That's small. I saw before the show coming in.
All the uncles and aunties back home, and all the friends and cousins, all the relatives, very proud, and like I said, I'm just trying to represent everyone in the best way possible because it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to be able to showcase my home and where I'm from, and all the people that represent it.
That's really cool. Well, as I said, I'm with Awards Buzz, and so we'd love to ask, what is the buzz for the upcoming season? What is the one thing that we're like, if we're going to watch for this?
You know what? I mean, obviously we have action-packed, adrenaline-filled rescues, but what people will start to fall in love with is the character development and start to be invested in the people themselves and the journey they go on. And I think that's what's going to be the hook of the show. It's like, it's got Hawaii, it's got action, it's got all that stuff, but it's also got really cool character development storylines. So I think that's what's going to keep people on our show, you know?
How about you, Kiko? What do we have to be buzzed about?
I would probably say Adam working out with his shirt off. That is something that will buzz around town for probably the next few decades at least. And that's the beautiful thing about television. It stays up there forever. And you can pause, rewind, fast.
I've got a screenshot of him doing bicep curls on my phone. That's my wallpaper.
I love it. Thank you so much, you guys. Congratulations on the new season, and enjoy the rest of the night. When can you see it? When can we watch?
It's out. So we're on this coming Monday night on Fox. Next day on Hulu. You can stream the last 4 episodes on Hulu. And check it out.
I'm standing here with Montana from Georgie and Mandy's first marriage.
That's right. Good to see you.
Now, when I hear first marriage, I get a little sad because I'm like, does that mean it's a second marriage? But then I get a little hopeful because I'm like, well, maybe we got a renewal of vows.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a trial separation. Yeah. I don't know what's happening.
I know.
Tell us a little bit about the show.
Yeah. You know, to second that, I was just talking to Jesse that plays Ruben on Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. And we're both thinking that the second marriage might be Ruben and Mandy's second marriage.
Okay.
That's what we've been thinking. But no, you know, obviously it calls for an inevitable breakup in the future. And whether we know it's with Mandy the second time or third time, we don't know yet. But that's why we're here to find out. So
we get to work alongside the wonderful Emily Osment.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us what it's like building that relationship and just working with Emily. We love her.
You know, she's so professional and so good at what she does. And I've told her this since the first day I met her. You know, I stand on the sidelines and watch what everybody does around me and try to mirror that and try to do the best I can. So she's amazing and great to work with. And I couldn't think of a better person to play Mandy.
Yeah. Now, are we dealing with kind of like an opposites attract kind of thing between Georgie and Mandy? Are you both from the same area in the show?
Yeah. I mean, as we know, Mandy's is a little older and a little older than Georgie, and you know all the complications that come with that and having that type of relationship. But that's what's great about it. You know, you get to see in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage them grow up and them realize that no matter what's going on, we have a child on our hip, and we got to do what it takes to take care of this child and continue moving forward. So
that's lovely.
Yes,
that's so cool. Well, I am with Awards Buzz, and we want to know what is the buzz for the upcoming season. What is the one thing where we say if we're going to watch for this?
That's a good question. You know, I've said it a million times before, and Young Sheldon was so relatable, and I'm hoping that we get this with this new show as well. I just hope it's relatable for people, and people can take something from it. I believe that from Young Sheldon, you've seen a family that had this oddball character, Sheldon, in it, and he was always smarter than the average person. And what it really comes down to is just showing you, whatever it is, we're humans at the end of the day, and I think everybody should be treated as that. And I think that's a great message that everybody got. So.
I love that. Georgie and Mandy's first wedding. You play Mandy's parents.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is the arc for the parent this next season?
It's an interesting position that Mandy's folks, Audrey and Jim, are in that their daughter has come home to live with them and has a husband in tow. It's definitely fodder for comedy, and it's really exciting for audiences of Young Sheldon, but not just audiences of Young Sheldon, people who are a part of a family, to see this family tackle this, because there's a way that this new addition to the McAllister family, Georgie, has a different effect on every single person in the family, the least of which, of course, being his wife.
Right. Tell me about the idea of having like an adult child that moves back in with you, and those kind of generational things where you're really trying to resist saying back in my day, but sometimes the situation calls for it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, I think, too, from a woman's perspective, that Audrey thought that her daughter had gone on to become a career woman and had a really successful job, how, she was a professional outside of the home, and then she met this guy who's 10 years younger than she is, and got pregnant and married him and moved back into the house. So it's an explosion for this mother to learn how to deal with. Obviously, she's happy that her kid is there and her granddaughter's there, and we're both happy, but how do you navigate the loss of something like that for a woman who wants the best for their daughter to go be a professional, and now she's back in the house, in her childhood bedroom? There's a lot to deal with.
It's something that this show takes place a while back, and in our first season of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, it's 1994. I think it really speaks to how universal this issue is, and I can think of my own family, and you have your sibs go in and out or whatever, and the way families operate like that. Now, I'm Italian, so everyone's just piled on top of each other and happy about it. But this is, of course, a universal theme for families, and a very interesting thing to see it in 1994 and realize that 30 years later, it's still exactly the same.
And people are still struggling with the same issues: financial issues, marital issues, generational issues. It's really so relatable.
Well, it blends, it's a sitcom, but it still tackles these issues that, like you said, everyone is going through. And it does kind of blend those dramatic elements with the humor. And so I think that's always neat.
There's a fine line between funny and heartbreaking.
And what Chuck Lorre and Steve Holland and Steve Milaro and our incredible writing staff do so well is go right at the hard storylines and never shy away from something that is even controversial to deal with, and that's where great comedy comes from, that gallows humor and that dark reality. So long as it's real things that people are dealing with, there is going to be comedy in it.
It lets us laugh at our own lives, even as we cry over our own lives. It lets us laugh, which is the best.
Well, I said, I'm with Awards Buzz, and so we want to know, what is the buzz about this upcoming season? What's the one thing we're like, if you're going to watch, you got to watch for this scene?
Oh, man. I would say the buzz for the first season of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, you're going to need to see every single episode of the show, because the last episode of the show of the first season is going to not just be the furthest along in the story, but it'll also tie things up in a very interesting way. Also, along the way, there's going to be some fun drunk shenanigans in the Thanksgiving episode.
And also a lot of our neighbors and family members from Young Sheldon are part of the series, so it's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's something that people need to stay tuned for, because there's always people from Young Sheldon coming back, and the outer reaches of the Big Bang universe.
Yeah, you don't have to say goodbye to the Young Sheldon characters. They continue to develop on our shows.
Yeah. What was it about Shrinking that you said, this is a story I need to get on TV? This is something that people need to see.
Well, Shrinking has a lot of humanity. I mean, in the same way that Scrubs did, but it's about experiences that we're all living through, with our chosen family.
Yeah. There is something so amazing. I was kind of tallying them out, and I was like, there's this issue and this issue, and then they're also dealing with this, and they're making me laugh and making me cry, and very many times the same sentence. And I'm like, why and how are they doing this to me?
It feels more like life, right? Yeah. I mean, there's two sides to people, two sides to stories. And the first season was about grief. This year's about forgiveness.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that's kind of the thing about grief, is that it's not linear. It pops up and it goes back. And we kind of see it popping back up in some characters. And then we have other characters who haven't had the chance to kind of process that. And so then we see it pop up big time for them in a way that is not healthy. But, they have to keep it together for the sake of the family. Tell us about when you were basically creating the arc, especially bringing in Brett's character, who we know is, he is the one who is responsible for the events of the first season. How do you mix that? How do you bring him in and make him, I guess, sympathetic in a way?
Well, the good news is that I have a team of amazing writers, led by Bill, Neil, and Brett, and Jason, that spend hours and days and months stressing over that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, I get to participate in it creatively when we hit the set. But for me, I would say that the combination, again, I'll go back to the humanity. There are just two sides to every story, and that our lives are fuller when we forgive.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because there are two sides to every story, but sometimes there is like an obvious yes or no. And sometimes you have to still kind of mitigate a personality even when the answer is no. And we kind of see that with the domestic violence patient,
right,
where it's like the answer is like, honey, leave this man alone. But you start to treat her with a patience and with this kind of civility. What was there between kind of adding a storyline like that into this narrative that again is supposed to be a comedy?
Right. That first season one with
the domestic violence situation, kind of how that folds into the second season with.
I would say that it's really critical to the writers that in finding the humanity in the character, giving them something that is kryptonite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think there's a bit of spoonful of sugar and cup of dirt, which happens in life.
I love that. Now, I love asking EPs especially. A big thing is people come to you and say, hey, we need the moon. Can you lasso up the moon? We need that. And you being like, okay, I'll get you the moon. Tell me about a time where you were asked for the moon and how did you deliver it?
Well, we always shoot for the moon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's a hallmark, I think, of Bill Lawrence's shows.
Yeah.
And I have a great team. So we, I think this year there was some pretty complicated scenes that we were asked to accomplish, and what we try and do is economies of scale help,
right,
getting them, combining episodes when we have to go to one of those big locations. When we have to find a lake and a canoe to put Harrison and Jason in, we get creative and do the best that we can. So I don't know if that answers your question specifically.
No, that helps. I like it.
And I think one of the rules I think I always try and follow with Bill is what's the most important part? You know, is this the most critical emotional anchor or comedy anchor? And let's marshal our forces towards that.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Randall, for talking to us a little bit today about Shrinking.
Thank you, Stacey.
It's airing now on Apple TV Plus.
Yes.
And
Apple TV Plus, it's everywhere.
I'm not ready, but I'm gonna get ready.
Get ready. It's gonna be with you until Christmas.
Yes, exactly. Oh, can't wait. Thank you again, and congratulations on the new season.
Thank you so much.
What is it about this show that just grabs people in?
I think the cases first and foremost. I like to think that, you know, for me it's just, and for NK, that the cases are so important and we know why.
Right.
You know, people from marginalized groups are historically just forgotten. And we like to think that we tackle that every week. But I think it's the emotional journeys for the characters, and I'm speaking from a fan's perspective because I also watch the show as a viewer and as a fan, and I think what resonates for me is just the fact that they aren't perfect, and they will be the first to admit that they are not, and they will be the first to admit to say, I'm on a healing journey, and I don't know when I'm going to get there, but I'm just going to take it one day at a time, and I just think that people can relate to that.
There is something so beautiful about the fact that they're all specialized. They all have, you know, their thing that they're good at. But we have someone who's an agoraphobe. We have someone that, you know, has severe anxiety issues and PTSD.
Yes.
And you have someone where it's like, yes, I may have this thing that I can do, but I also have this thing that could potentially hold me back.
Yes.
But I choose to put the wellness of others before my fear, you know, and that's... It's hard, and it's not something that is forever. It goes up, it goes down. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. And to see that so realistically portrayed. When you guys were kind of forming out the show, was that a part of the conversation? Having those kind of, not necessarily flaws, but just differences, I guess?
That's a great question, and thank you for speaking on that, because it is one of the, I would say that is a conversation we have daily. We, the writers, we bring all of our flaws to the show, you know, and we are the first to admit that there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And I like to think that the characters, their journeys are infused with our own. And again, it goes back to what I think audience, the viewers resonate with, which is the fact that they are on a journey. They are not fully formed yet. Right. It's almost as if they're children and they're still being molded, you know. And I think that for us, people that are every day we're trying to be our best selves. We're putting our best selves out there, and we want to win, and we're ambitious in all of those things. But when things are quiet, sometimes that can be unnerving, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to think that we start to address that this season, which is when you get quiet, that's when kind of the monsters start talking to you, and that is the work. That's the work, you know. And so we the writers, we talk about these things every single day because we're on our own journeys as well, you know.
I love that. So I'm with Awards Buzz, and we want to know, what is the buzz for the upcoming season? What is the one thing that you're like, if you're gonna watch it for this?
Oh my goodness. You are going to watch this season. Please watch it for the Sir and Gabby cat and mouse game, because he is in the wild. And I will just say, what happens when Sir is in the wild? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what you think is going to happen, because it is going to be a roller coaster ride.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait.
My name is Spence Moore II, and I'm a part of a beautiful show called Brilliant Minds on NBC. On Mondays.
All right. You know what? Brilliant Minds. Of course, I know Zachary Quinto's is the lead for that one. And he is kind of quintessential, like, oh, we're going to have a thing about a smart medical mind. Let's get Zach.
Sure.
So tell us how your character is kind of integrated into all of this.
Well, I play a character by the names of Dr. Jacob Nash. And you have to think he was the star college quarterback, and you have to think that maybe he was one hit away or one injury away from having a different perspective on life, or life looking a little bit different. So he didn't want football to get in the way of this other dream that he was also chasing of being a doctor. And who knew that he was going to be able to still save lives and impact people in the way that he was going to impact lives today.
That's really cool.
It's super dope. Yeah.
That is wow. Now we have a huge ensemble cast with this.
Massive.
Tell me what it's like to kind of work with all of these greats.
So I mean, we have an incredible list of guest stars coming in on this season. Like, everybody's in for a treat. I try to pick up something. I try to ask any question from. I don't want to even give away too many people. But Mandy Patinkin may have been in the article or two. That's the only one you get. That's the only one you get. But it's super dope. And I mean, even our core cast, it's like a bunch of people have been in the trenches for the past couple of years. Finally, I guess reaping what they've sown, I guess, in a sense. But a lot of talent on this show, from the core to the new faces that you'll see every single episode. But it's just an awesome on-set environment. It feels like a family already, and it's only season 1. Mm-hmm. Only season 1.
One thing I love about the show, and about any show, is the idea of effortless diversity. I want people to be able to show up and people be like, yeah, that makes sense. And so when we think about the idea of a black male doctor, I want people like, yes, and he's young, sure,
yes,
let's go, let's do it.
But he's eager to learn too. He's not a know-it-all. He doesn't think he knows everything. I think this is one of Dr. Jacob Nash's most humbling experiences in his entire life. It's where he's really had to sit down and open up those ears and listen a little bit more. Quarterback's a very vocal guy, leader, but this is a guy who's doesn't mind being led in a new space. Yeah.
I love that. Well, as I said, I'm with Awards Buzz, and so we want to know, what is the buzz about the upcoming season? If we're going to tune in, what is the one thing that we're like, oh, you got to watch it for this?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that is most incredible about Brilliant Minds is the fact that it feels it's real life, but you get to see what a real life superhero looks like. A lot of these multifaceted phenomena of diseases and things that we think are uncurable, or maybe life has to look a particular way. Dr. Wolf, played by the incredible Zachary Quinto, is going to show you that hope should remain, and that there's always a cure to anything.
I love that.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's a brilliant mind. Talking about brilliant minds. There are several. I'm gonna go get Zach so he can diagnose this. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. You're welcome. It really gives me insight into what Brilliant Minds is about.
What makes you say that?
Because when I was reading the synopsis, I was like, so it's kind of like Doctor Strange, but House, but for shrinks, but also not. And then I was like, yeah.
That is the best,
right. Thank you. What I was telling our dear gentleman here that I loved about this show is I love a show with effortless diversity, where you have people on the show, you're like, it makes sense that they're on the show, and I have someone that I can relate to. They say if you want to be it, you have to see it. Tell me about being on a show that has so many different types of people, so many different types of representation on it. We'll start with you, and we'll just go in a cute little circle.
Well, this is like my first gig, so I'm totally spoiled that I get to do it with all of these incredible people, and effortless diversity. I've never heard it expressed that way, and that's absolutely what we have. And it's really exciting to walk into a space where white folks aren't in the majority, and it's not always your experience. I come from theater, and I've had to enter a lot of white spaces, and then you kind of have to adjust, but here it really is. And we have a showrunner who is so willing. He's right there. He folds so much of who we are into the show, and it's very intersectional, and I get to play a queer character, and I myself am queer, and now I'll never have to go back.
Woo! I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I'd say is it would be a huge lie if this wasn't how the whole thing was put together, because this is This is New York, man. This is the Bronx. This is great storytelling, and great. Honestly, it's great casting. I can't imagine. I'm just in love with everyone's work, and I'm everyone's biggest cheerleader. So, Alex,
The question was, how does it feel to have so much representation?
Yeah, to be involved in a cast and a production that has so much representation and identity.
Well, I mean, the show takes place in New York, so it'd be crazy if there wasn't everybody from everywhere.
But just a few years ago, you've had shows that were in New York that were all white.
Well, it's a blessing.
I think our show is representative of the world that we're living in, and we don't see that on television. So I think that's in addition to our writers and our showrunner being such an amazing collaborator, we see the show is what we see every day. Walking into any space. So it was important to them, and we are ecstatic to be here, and to be a part of it.
I also have to say that it felt so safe, which I think there's as a minority, sometimes there's a danger in speaking up or speaking out, and this was such an amazing experience because you're surrounded by minorities, you're surrounded by queer people, you're surrounded by people who will hear you and will want to be true to whatever the authenticity of that thing, whatever it is. So that was really cool.
They say a rising tide rises all ships, and whenever you bring up the most marginalized person, it's going to lift everyone up instead of just kind of rising the creams to the top. Tell me, Sam with Awards Buzz, we want to know, what is the buzz for this next season? What is the one thing? Actually, give me like a word or a phrase. It doesn't have to be a spoiler, but something where you're like, ooh, you got to watch for this.
Beauty.
Oh, okay.
Beauty.
Yes.
No, that's right. Sorry. This season. Compelling. Compelling. Our cases are compelling, and they're real. They're not made up. They're compelling and real. Anybody else? Teddy's thinking hard back there.
I think that you said faces, and I was like, yes, they are, but you said cases, and that's just as right.
They're real.
I think feeling seen.
Love it.
I'm not really sure. I mean, like, what's the buzz? Like, what? I'm trying to think of a medical term that we're all gonna be very familiar with as an audience, like as the season goes on. Like what are the amazing cases where it's like, oh shit, occipital dural arteriovenous fistula, we already had that. Transorbital ventricular puncture, we already had that. But we have a couple of really incredible cases coming up that are going to span many different episodes. And I'm just trying to think of the right terminology. Well, let me just say,
intriguing. Tune in and continue to watch, and you'll find out.
I mean, intriguing, but also like, I don't know, man. Did you say compelling? Like, just, but like,
many times.
It's. I think I'm gonna just spike this and walk away. I got nothing new to add. An unbrilliant mind is done talking.
I want to say something.
Please.
There's a budding friendship that you won't get a chance to see until far down the line.
Ooh. Okay.
No, actually, you get to see Zach's and I friendship.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
So I don't know what you're talking about.
Just you wait. Some fun relationships will emerge.
Relationships.
There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for taking a little time to talk with us. Congratulations on the new season. I cannot wait for more people to see it.